If your team runs cloud workloads, AI services, developer pipelines, or internet-facing infrastructure, today's security question is simple: which patch changes your blast radius first? This is Daily Tech Hack Global for July 30, 2026. The facts in this briefing come from NBD, CISA when reachable, and linked vendor advisories. I will keep the discussion defensive: no exploit commands, no payloads, and no step-by-step attack chains. The lead item is CVE 2026-60113. NVD describes it as AMO's Instrument Toolkit, AIT, Deep Space Network, DSN, interface before 2.2.2 contains a missing authentication vulnerability in the SpaceLink extension, SLE, interface manager that allows unauthenticated network attackers to access 7 unprotected API routes by sending direct HTTP requests with no credentials. Attackers can reach the exposed SLE endpoints to start or stop deep space network communication sessions, retrieve telemetry frame data, and inject arbitrary frames into active spacecraft links. The recorded severity is critical with CVSS 9.8. Why it matters: prioritize by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. The second item is CVE 2026-41939. NBD summarizes it as Care Everywhere Gateway March 14, 10 contains a hard-coded credentials vulnerability in the bundled Wildfly 8.2.0. Final management interface that allows unauthenticated remote attackers to gain administrative access by using default credentials identical across all installations. Attackers can authenticate to the exposed Wildfly management console on port 20990 and deploy a malicious web application archive file through the deployments interface to achieve REMO. Severity is critical with CVSS 9.8. The operational takeaway is to map this advisory to exposed systems, service credentials, and any automation that can turn a small weakness into a larger incident. Item 3 is CVE 2026-55971. Heap-based buffer overflow vulnerability in Apache Thrift C++ bindings. This issue affects Apache Thrift before 0.24.0. Users are recommended to upgrade to version 0.24.0, which fixes the issue. Severity, critical, CVSS 9.8. Defensive context, prioritize by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. Item 4 is CVE 2026-48144. Improper validation of certificate with host mismatch vulnerability in Apache Thrift C_glib bindings. This issue affects Apache Thrift before 0.24.0. Users are recommended to upgrade to version 0.24.0, which fixes the issue. Severity, critical, CVSS 9.1. Defensive context, prioritize by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. Here is the defender checklist. First, identify whether any affected product is internet-facing, reachable from CI systems, or reachable by AI agents and automation. Second, patch according to the vendor advisory, not just the headline score. Third, review service accounts, API keys, pod identities, OAuth apps, and tool credentials that could be reused if the affected system was compromised. Fourth, add monitoring around unusual admin actions, image pulls, tool calls, authentication failures, and outbound network requests. Fifth, document what was patched and what was deferred so tomorrow's team can audit the risk instead of rediscovering it. The larger lesson is that AI security is not only prompt security. It is the security of runtimes, cloud services, tool connectors, identity boundaries, and the operational process that decides what gets patched first. Patch what is exposed, reduce what is privileged, rotate what may have leaked, and make automation prove what it is allowed to touch.